Hi and welcome back again. Welcome to Words with Al. Okay, I wanted to say something. Don't I always want to say something? Uh, the last video, I'm sorry, it just became suddenly so dramatic. I didn't. That's not what I just realized. So I was looking at the video before I posted it, right? And I was like, well, until now, I haven't really taken considerations of people's feelings in terms of how they, how this affects them. and um, and I realized that, oh my goodness, like I'm touching things that are very close to the bone for many people. So, and I don't want to upset them. However, the truth is the truth, and that comes first. Okay. So that's it. So I'm not gonna consider anyone's feelings. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I am discovering this, as I said and have been saying from my videos previous, from the first one till here, because you can see my whole trail of thought. Okay. Um, and so I have to retract many things sometimes. Some like not many things because I haven't really retracted a lot now, but I've seen that there are some tweaks and refinements, greater accuracy that can be found than what I have been able to. But this is the thing, right? So I have made the map, and I know that I do not know all the words or all the semantics for each sound, but you guys do, right? So so what I actually need is I need all the semantics for those sounds, and that will enable us to decipher all languages. Okay, so it's very simple. It is in truth very simple, but we mustn't. I do understand that we do have a lot of information about history, and we have a framework of how languages developed, and this framework is usually a straight line, but that is not how it actually happened. So I realized just 2 minutes ago, because that's when the idea just inside of me, and what I've realized, or what it seems now, this is just the findings, okay? According, so I'm processing this information slowly, and then new aspects are revealing themselves slowly. And what I have found is, okay, so just this is the new theory now. This is where the findings are leading us. Okay, so they're leading us towards. Okay, just hear me out. So we were a fully developed language, okay, and then we settled the earth. It's in rather very small groups. Okay, just a few of us who left, and we all spoke the same language, or we had this conceptual understanding of what those sounds meant: low, high, ah, right? So everything. And yeah, so we're gonna go into it. We're gonna see how this develops. But what I'm saying is that these then developed. Obviously, they got changes, right, with time. How sound is used changes, obviously, right, with time. It has. That's why we have so many languages. But what seems to be the case so far is that there were moments of civilizations, okay? And these civilizations represented where everything was happening, like the center core of science or discovery or a higher quality of living. Okay, easier life, and this made people flock because they wanted easier life. If we still do, right? Things haven't changed, but back then we were still closer to nature. So living with nature was what we've been doing forever. So it wasn't really a matter of a betterment, but it was an easier, obviously, thing. It was a sacrifice of something, and then you gain something else, which was the protection of the society, etc. So that you could focus on other things. So which is where also development happened, right? But so what I'm seeing is, so just let me lay out this idea, um, is that so so these civilizations spawned, okay, using the same roots that had spread across Earth. And the higher those civilizations grew, the more unique they became until they collapsed and something new began. And sometimes we things happen as things happen at more places simultaneously. Okay, which is why we also get very distinct languages, uh, even though we're closer to the root. But this is where now this is the kick, as they've began saying and using online now, because kick. Okay. Now imagine there was always people living outside civilization. Okay. So these people were not um, they were not part of that change. They did not mm, um, hear about this development. They didn't partake in this development. So they never developed. Um, yeah, they never developed. So the root stayed the same, and they kept the roots. So these people that were outside of civilization, okay, they hold semantics for those simplest sounds. Okay. And God, yeah, this is just crazy. What is civilization? Civilization is accumulation of power. Power began when we began fooling each other, trick each other, exploit each other. When I wanted what you had, right? And in those, not only that, it wasn't always for that, okay? It wasn't only for there were different reasons for why what kept civilization growing, and obviously quite similar reasons for why they fell. You know where I'm going with this because we know we have history. So, so, so the reasons for them falling are the same. Selfishness becomes it reaches a peak that trickles down and kills society. So the whole shebang just falls. But the ones on top manage to escape. It's not always, not back then. Back then, we were able to capture them. The people caught them. So they knew they could never fully trick us. But as civilization grow, that cunningness grew deeper. That evil became greater. And oh God, um, yeah. So now we are in a really bad stage in this development. Okay, this is just how it is. We can't really ignore that fact. It just bah, stamp on it, stamp it, finish it. Right. So I'm talking a lot with my hands and I'm noticing it. And the reason for that is because I know I'm just jumping with my arms and hands and my whole body. But I'm trying to convey an idea. And it's very difficult to visualize to make a video. I know a video would be much better. But yeah, I'm not good at making videos, honestly. I'm not. I've tried, but I'm not. And it's just not gonna. There are so many things that I want to include, so I need to someone to cooperate with me, and probably someone will one day. Okay, so I see this. I feel it coming. Either way, mm, so what happened is that these civilizations um, attracted a lot of people, and those people then, obviously turned into a distinct people. But they weren't, because those in the approximate surroundings, so people who were living outside civilization, but rather close, um, they kept the roots. They didn't develop. They weren't part of that thing. So they were lived with nature, with the right, with the good. So they weren't that easily attracted to convenience and technological development. Um, yeah, but with time, everyone, unfortunately, like we all got affected. Okay, this idea, this civilization idea, um, is everywhere now, except thankfully those people who we have saved. Thankfully, there were some, those the natives that we have not interacted with, that we have laws against interacting with, because we want them to preserve the original state. Okay, and so that's that. That explains a lot. So what happens then? Well, I hope it did. But let me, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. So civilizations grew, creating unique thingy bobs, and then they fell. But the people that were living outside civilizations throughout time were never part of these big developments. Sure, they were also affected through trade, through several factors, but they were not so much, not to that extent that they actually lost the roots. So yes, so that's why that explains a lot, which is why these roots are found today in language, in languages uh, that connect us. These connect us, not the add-ons, not the newer concepts, not the new words. The new words are new. So obviously, that people who intellectually grew would know of those words, but those who didn't did not know of those words. So this is the scheme. Okay, the scheme is that people, those in power, this is what happened later. Those in power understood that the more knowledge you have of creation, the more power you have. And the more power you have, well, I don't really need to say much. But the more power you have, the more you can create the world in your image. This is a big imposition on mankind, a great imposition. An atrocity. It is evil. Why? Because it is not the truth. The truth is nature. It's very simple. It's always been nature. So we can choose to live with nature, follow its streams, or live in exploitation of nature and destroy it for our gains. So do remember that Earth has infinite amount of energy, right? We do not need a monetary system. We don't need anything really because we have everything. Everything is provided. It always was, which is what those who lived outside civilization knew. They didn't need an easier life. They knew that this was life. Right? So so there you go. Okay, that's a little bit of history, a little bit of truth coming forward. But thankfully, for these people who lived outside civilization, they saved us in terms of this question. And they also they have protected themselves as well because civilization sure makes you gives you a more comfortable life, but in turn it also reduces your ability to do a lot of things. So thank you for today. Thank you and have a good day. My son just woke up, so going back to that. Okay, I just wanted to share this. So cheers. Have a good day.